guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here. So today I'm going to be doing another collaboration video, and this time it's with Hayley from Hayley Marie Reads, and I will link her channel down below and her video because she's doing a version of this video and I love Hayley's channel. She's very bouncy, very kind of like great to watch. If you're having a bad day, go and watch Hayley's channel because she's one of those people that just really kind of like gets your spirits back up again. She's absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I just love watching her videos. We decided we were going to actually make a video that I initially saw on Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books channel. She did a video where she reads, or is going to read, the books that were published the year that she was born. And so we thought we would do that. It's quite interesting. Me and Hayley were born in different years, so when you go and watch her channel you'll see very different books on her list than you will on mine, and I saw the ones on hers and I was a little bit jealous because mine aren't, I don't think, as interesting, possibly. But yeah, so basically I'm going to go through the top 10 of the books on the list, and I'm excluding any books in series that are not the first book because I don't want to read an entire series. So what I'm going to do is, if there's any series, I'll kick them out and they won't be included in the top 10. But whatever the top 10 are, we're going to pick 5 of those books, and over the next 5 months, so February, March, April, May, June, we will read 1 book a month, which you'll obviously see in our sort of TBR wrap-ups. And then in July we will make another video where we talk about the books that we read, and again, we will do that collaboratively, so that will be really interesting. So today, like I said, I'm going to go through the 10 books on the list and decide which 5 I'm going to pick. I have looked at this before and I have tried to get some of the books that are on the list, so I have had a bit of a sneaky look. Yeah, and then I will choose the 5 I'm going to be reading over the next 5 months. And like I said, I'll link Hayley's channel and her video down below, so do go and check that out because I definitely think it's worth it. And it's really interesting to see what was the, I think she's 1995, I could be wrong. If you don't know, I was born in 1992, I am 26, so that makes sense. And so let's get started with the 10 books that were on this list. So the most popular book that was published in 1992 is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I feel like Donna Tartt is quite a well-known author. I actually own The Goldfinch by her, but I didn't have this one, so I've obviously gone out and found it. So this is going to be one of the ones that I read. It's quite a big book. I think it's 650 pages, which it doesn't look that big, but it is quite large. I don't really know anything about it, so I'll just really quickly read the back. It says, under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. When they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever. So I don't really feel like that gives much away. I actually don't really know anything else. Like, I've heard people talk about this book, but I don't really feel like anyone's ever explained this. I would assume maybe there's murder in this or something, I'm not really sure. Very excited though, and it'll be good to read this to kind of know whether her writing style is for me, and then whether I want to tackle the Goldfinch, which is even bigger than this one. So yeah, very much looking forward to this. This is the first one that I'm adding to my TBR. The next one on this list is The Pelican Brief by John Grisham, which I had heard the name of this before, but I didn't actually know too much about it. I read a John Grisham book. I read A Time to Kill. I've read a few others, I think. I liked The Confession by John Grisham as well, so I definitely think that this is one I'm going to read and I'm going to add to my TBR because I have read John Grisham books and liked them in the past, so I feel like this is a great one. I also think this is one of his most popular ones. And I also know that John Grisham tends to do legal thrillers, so I'm guessing that that's what this one is about. So having looked at it now, I think that this is where 2 Supreme Court justices are assassinated, and it's got something to do with trying to find out what happened there. Obviously I have no idea on specifics of that, but again, it sounds like it's like a legal thriller type thing, and that is kind of my favourite thing. So yeah, I'm adding this one to the TBR. So these are the first 2. The third one on the list is Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon, which is the second book in the Outlander series. Now, I did not get around to reading Outlander in January, which was the plan initially, so I'm not going to be adding this one to the list. Like I said, I'm not doing ones that are in series. Next up is She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. Now I do own a Wally Lamb book. I have, where is it? I Know This Much Is True, which I actually think was in Nicole's video. I think I Know This Much Is True was actually the one that came out the year she was born. I'm not 100% sure. She's Come Undone is a coming of age book, and I think it's like a women's fiction contemporary type novel, and as much as I have enjoyed that type of book in the past. It's not really my type of thing, and I feel like there's probably going to be more on this list that I'm going to enjoy, so I'm not going to be reading this one, unfortunately. Next up is Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson, and this one is like a cyberpunk science fiction book, and again, it doesn't really sound up my street. I've got the synopsis written here. So it says, in reality, hero protagonist delivers pizza for Uncle Enzo's Cosa Nostra Pizza Incorporated, but in the metaverse he's a warrior prince. Plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere, he races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for the shadowy virtual villain threatening to bring about infocalypse. Snow Crash is a mind-altering romp through a future America so bizarre, so outrageous, you'll recognise it immediately. I don't think I'm going to read this one. It's not really my thing. I'm not really into science fiction that much anyway, and yeah, I didn't really understand a word of the synopsis, so I feel like I'm probably not going to understand the book, so yeah, I'm skipping that one. Next up is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray, and as much as I would be like, oh, I'm going to read this as like a joke, I know that this book I will not get anything from. I know that lots of people liked this book, and it was a book that definitely helped a lot of people, but having watched the Banging Book Club, which Hannah Witten, Lena Norms and Lucy Moon did, I will link their kind of a live stream. They did like a podcast, I think, of it. It's quite offensive, and I personally think it's a bit sexist, and it's not really one that I want to waste my time or money buying. So yeah, I definitely know I'm not going to read this one. Next up is The Black Echo, which is by Michael Connolly, and it's the first in the Harry Bosch series. I might read this in future. I'm not going to read it for this challenge just because I know there are some more later on that I'm more interested in, but I feel like I have watched the start of the Bosch, the TV series, and I quite enjoyed that. This is about an LAPD homicide detective named Harry Bosch who is investigating the murder of a fellow Vietnam War veteran, and I don't really know anything else about it other than that, but I feel like it will be an interesting one, and it is definitely something I would want to read in the future. Like I said, I'm not doing it for this particular challenge, but it is one that I want to get to at some point. I've also heard really good things about Michael Connolly's writing in general, so he is an author I would like to get to because I've not read anything by him before. The next one is The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, but this one is the 4th book in the Wheel of Time series, so like I said, I'm going to discount this one. Next up is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, which I believe is a non-fiction, like, spirituality book, which is not really my type of thing, so I'm again gonna skip this one. And I realise it must look like I've just skipped loads and basically decided not to, but it's because the last 3 are all the ones that I want to read. Like I said, I've looked at these before. So the next one is Geralds Game by Stephen King, which, as you know, I love Stephen King. In fact, there's another Stephen King one in this list, so it was interesting that there were 2 Stephen King books on this list. But Gerald's Game is one that I've seen that there is a, I think is there a Netflix show based on this? I have no idea whether it's a good adaptation, but I know that there is an adaptation, so it will be interesting to watch that after I read the book. I believe this is about a husband and wife who, I don't know if it's in kind of sexy time or if it's in kind of a bit more malicious than that, but I know that a wife is tied to a bed and she somehow, I think, like, kicks her husband somehow, or I don't know if it's accidentally or what it is, but she kills her husband, but she's then attached to this bed and can't get off, and like nobody else is around, and I think it's about that. Again, I don't know too much else. I don't really think I want to know too much else. I don't actually own Gerald's Game, but it is a book that obviously I want to read all of Stephen King's books, so I'm actually quite excited to be able to get hold of this one. So I'm going to keep my eye out for it, and if I don't see it, then I'll obviously buy it first hand. I'll buy it new, basically. But yeah, so basically that is the one I'm definitely going to be reading. I'm quite excited to get to another Stephen King book. The next one does have a bit of a funny story in that when me and Hayley decided to make this video, I had had a look at basically at what books I had on this list, and I decided very briefly like which ones I'm probably going to read. And one of them I wasn't really sure between this one and the Harry Bosch one that I talked about earlier. But it made me answer for me because I went to a charity shop and I found this book in the charity shop, and I was like, okay, so it's basically decided for me. And I found this one, so yeah, I'm going to read this one, which is The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. I will have a look and see how you say that before I do my wrap up, because I honestly don't know. I don't know too much else about this other than it's set in the Second World War, and I feel like The English Patient is one of those books that everybody's talked about. Like it's really like well known. I think it's kind of like a classic. Oh, it's maybe it's because it's a TV. I think it's a film. It says now a major motion picture winner of 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. So must be good. So again, that's one I potentially will have a look at. Once I've read it, obviously. The Goodreads doesn't really give me much of a synopsis either, but again, I know it's about the Second World War, which you know I'm a big fan of reading books about the Second World War, hence why I was quite intrigued by this one, and I found it, like I said, on the in the charity shop and was like, okay, I think I'll pick it up. It was only £1, and I'm quite excited to get to this one because it's probably not one I would ever really have picked up by myself, so this has definitely helped me pick up some books that I'm quite looking forward to reading. And the final one, you'll probably know if you watched my February TBR that went up last week, but I talked about a book that I was going to read, but I couldn't tell you why, and now you know why. The last one is Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. Like I said, another Stephen King book. My mum actually owned this book, so she was very kind to lend this to me. She got it from a charity shop as well, strangely enough. But yeah, she was happy to lend this to me to read this month, and obviously I'll give it back to her. But this is the first one of this list that I'm going to be reading, and I'm going to be reading this in February. So this just says, Dolores Claiborne has a story to tell, but it isn't exactly the one the police are expecting to hear. Suspected of murdering Vera Donovan, the crippled widow for whom she worked as housekeeper and companion, Dolores admits the two women hadn't always got along. Apparently neglected by her children and eaten up with bitterness despite her wealth, Mrs. Donovan had hovered on the brink of madness for years, and when her demons became too strong, Dolores was there to take the punishment. Maybe one day Dolores had just had enough. But Dolores Claiborne's story is a little different, a little darker, a little stranger, and a lot more horrifying. It's a story that could only have come from the pen of Stephen King. Until that very moment, I'd never actually read the synopsis of this book, and now I'm more intrigued. I knew it was a Stephen King book, so I was ready to read it, irrelevant of what it was about. Yeah, very much looking forward to this. There you are, guys. That is the 5 books from the year I was born that I'm going to be reading over the next few months. Like I said, go and check out Hayley's video where you'll see which ones she's going to be reading, and then we will do a video at the end when we talk about all the books that we have decided to read. I hope that you liked this video. I really enjoyed filming it, and like I said, I love Hayley, so I can't believe I'm finally getting to collaborate with her because that's just amazing. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Go over and check Hayley's channel out and give her some love as well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!